If you are looking for some simple yet powerful ways to encourage your kids, well, I just learned something from my son, and I want to share it with you. Basically, my daughter, my wife and I, we have 4 kids. My daughter, who is the oldest, she had her bed was broken, the frame was broken, and so she had called upon good old dad to fix it. So I was in the process of fixing my daughter's frame. My son came alongside me. I had the drill, I had the hammer, I had some nails. I don't know. I was in the middle of something. And he was like, "Hey, Dad, can I help?" And so I said, "Sure." He asked specifically, can he help with the nails and the drilling and stuff like that? So that's the first way that I recognize that you can encourage your kids, is by simply empowering them and encouraging them to help, to do something that you could do yourself, and maybe it's frankly easier to do it yourself, but you know that it would be really helpful for them to do it. And even if it's inconvenient, let's be honest, sometimes it's inconvenient to have your kids do something that you know that will take you to do. It would be easier to you to do it. It'd be easier or quicker for you to do it. My encouragement to you is to encourage your kids by letting them do it instead. And that's, of course, different than them doing something that you know that they're not ready to do or that they can't do yet. I'm specifically talking about something that you know that they can do, and maybe it will take longer for them to do than for you to do. My first tip to encourage your kids is to empower them to do something that you know that they can do, even if it would take a little bit longer. The second lesson I learned from my son is, while we were in the midst of doing that, he pointed out an area that needed a nail. I got out 2 nails, but there was actually 3 places that needed a nail to fix my daughter's bed frame. And I actually knew that, but I forgot about it. He legitimately reminded me of something that I had forgotten about, even though I knew I was aware of that nail, but I'd forgotten about it at that moment. So my immediate reaction was to say, "Oh yeah, I knew about that nail." And then I thought about it and I said, wait a second, he legitimately reminded me about something that I've forgotten about. So I corrected myself. I said, "Actually, son, I did know about that nail, but I had forgotten about it. So thank you for bringing that up, because you reminded me where I needed to be reminded." And that was the second lesson that I learned, is humility. Like, just legitimately apologize when you do something wrong. Apologize. That's really encouraging for kids. And it's also helpful. As Christians, sometimes we can forget about the humility that we need as parents, Christian parents, to recognize only God is perfect. I'm not perfect. I'm not a perfect dad. You're not a perfect parent. We're not perfect. Only God is perfect. And so it's good for our kids to see the humanity of us, to see our flaws. So that's the second lesson, is to apologize when necessary and say thank you to your kids. Say thank you, thank you, thank you. And even when you make a mistake, immediately course correct. Like, don't be afraid to course correct. And that leads me to the third thing, which is a realization that I had after I did that. And this is really what led me to make this video. After I did that, my son thanked me. And this is what he said. He said, "Thanks, Dad, for letting me know that what I said was helpful." And that's it. That's the third way that I realized you can encourage your kids over the next year, is to do things that empower them, that make them feel helpful, right? Like when I said, "Yes, hey son, you can help me with the drill, you can help me with the bed frame," that made him felt useful, right? Because, hey, he's doing something that he knows that needs to be done, that I'm in the middle of working on something, and I welcomed him into working on that. But with him bringing up something that I legitimately forgot about, it made him feel helpful. So not just useful, it made him feel helpful. It made him, in other words, feel like he was able to contribute to something. So I just wanted to share that with you guys, because that really warmed my heart to recognize that me course correcting and recognizing that my son legitimately reminded me of something that I forgot, was not only good to do, but it was actually something that made my son feel helpful in a way that I didn't even realize until he said that to me, which is what made me realize, like, oh, wow, like this really matters to him. It matters to him for him to see that what he does and what he says is useful and it's helpful. So those are some of the ways that I just learned that I'm going to implement more and more intentionally over the next year, to be intentionally encouraging to my kids? What about you? Are there any ways that you can think of, that maybe some stories that you can tell with your kids that you want to drop in the comment section to share with all of us on how to be encouraging to your kids in 2025? It has been an amazing year, this 2024. Stay tuned. I got more videos to come. I wanted to drop this quick one to just share with everybody because I was just so encouraged by it. I had to get it off my chest. All right. God bless you. Go encourage somebody. Go encourage your kids. Peace out.